Like to call to order our meeting of Wednesday, September 25th. Our chair, Wayne Emerson, is not available today, and I am subbing, so I'll try to do justice for him. I'd like to start with the land acknowledgement, and on behalf of the board, we acknowledge that York Region is located on the traditional territory of many Indigenous people, including the Anishinaabe, the Haudenosaunee, the Huron-Wendat, and the Métis people, and the treaty territories of the Haudenosaunee, the Mississauga, the First Nations, and the William Treaty First Nations. Today, this area is home to many diverse Indigenous peoples, and we recognize their history, their spirituality, their culture, and their stewardship of this land. We also acknowledge the Chippewas of Georgina Island First Nation as our closest First Nations community. I'll ask members if there's any disclosure of interest. Seeing none, I will ask Member McCullough to move the public minutes of June 26, 2024. We don't need a seconder, do you? Like it's committee, or do you want a seconder? We'll ask for a seconder. We'll ask Member Pritchell. All in favor? That carries. We have confirmation of the public meeting of July 22nd, the special meeting of the board. I'll ask Member Cartalucci and Member Jackson to move in second. Any questions, comments? All in favor? That carries. And then we have confirmation of the public minutes of the September 16th special meeting of the board. Again, Member McCullough and Member Pritchard. All in favor? That carries. Presentations, we have none. Deputations, we have none. Communications, we do have one, and I'd like to acknowledge Member Jackson. As a board member and regional councillor, Linda Jackson, she was elected to the board of directors of the Canadian Association of Police Governance for the year 2024 to 2025. She will be representing Ontario on the board, who has, representation for 7 provinces in the First Nation. This is the first time our board has had a member join the CAPG board of directors. So I'm sure she will work with great diligence and advocate for policy changes that support modernizing the police sector while bringing her incredible experience, unique perspective, and skill set to the contribution to the work of the CAPG board. Congratulations. Moving on with the agenda. There are correspondence 9-1, 9-2, and 9-3. Anybody wish them pulled? If not, Member Cartalucci, Member Jackson, you'll move. All in favor? That carries. Consideration and adoption of reports. Are there any member of the board wish to pull? There are. I will tell you the ones that staff wish to speak to. It is 10-2, 10-3, 10-5, 10-7, 11-1, and 11 or 12-2 and closed, or sorry, 12-2. So any additional items? So that was 10-2, 10-3. I'm missing one page here. There we go. 10-5, 10-7 of this section. Member Jackson?
Thank you, Acting Chair, and good morning, all. I'd like to, and I was trying to get the number here. Oh my goodness. I think it's 10.9. Thank you.
10.9. So with that, I'll ask Member Pritchell to move. We have 10-1, 10-4, 10-6, and 10-8. Moved by Member Pritchell, seconded by Member Cartalucci. All in favor? That carries. Our first item then for discussion is item 10-2, direct purchase of vacuum metal decompression chamber. Deputy Hammond.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you very much. I'm here on behalf of the chief. Thank you very much. I wanted to congratulate you, Member Jackson, on that prestigious accomplishment. Excellent work. So we wanted to pull this report just because, not because it's a direct purchase of what this technology is, it's just really to provide an explanation a little bit about what it is in case there was any questions about it. I mean, the report is pretty straightforward, but we are seeking the board's approval to make a direct purchase from West Tech Forensic Incorporated. And ultimately what this is for is a vacuum metal disposition chamber. So it is really the only vendor that meets the unit's requirements. There are only 2 vendors in Canada, but this one uses a built-in cooling system with using water as opposed to nitrogen oxide. So causes some other challenges. But really what this technology is, it's a powerful technique that is used to pull latent fingerprints from surfaces that are often difficult to do that, porous, semi-porous, tight woven material. And it does so in a fashion that it doesn't degrade the opportunity to also pull DNA, extract DNA from that. So that's why we're seeking the approval for this purchase. It is something a technology that we have to reach out to our partner agencies with the RCMP and Toronto Police Services currently to leverage their availability for that, but that creates its own operational challenges, which is why we're seeking approval to purchase this. There is funding in the capital budget to support this. So that's really what I wanted to share. Did anyone have any questions?
Thank you. Any questions of the acting chief? I'll ask Member Jackson and Member McCauley to move in second. All in favor? That carries. Acting chief, there is a direct purchase of the call logging. Nice.
Yes. Thank you, Vice Chair. So this is another direct purchase for a call logging software, which we've used historically for some time, but there's an opportunity here given what's coming forward with the NG 911, and why we pulled this is really just to kind of give a little bit of a highlight of what the NG 911 is about and where we're at with that. So I will turn it over to Deputy McCloskey, who has carriage of this area.
Thank you, Acting Deputy, and through you, Chair, members of the board. I certainly don't want to reread the report to you. I know you've had a chance to look at that. So what I intend to do is just sort of speak to what it really does in more simple language. So the NIS software is something that we've had at YRP for quite some time, and it works independently, however, from our CAD or computer-aided dispatch. So the benefit of upgrading to the Elite software package through NIS, provided by Wilmac as the sole supplier for this area, is interoperability and integration. It'll allow for faster and more effective call audits, stats collection, and call reconstruction abilities. Additionally, and very importantly, especially with the new responsibilities we have with respect to disclosure protocols, it will speed up the disclosure process through our digital evidence management systems. This integration automatically pulls audio based on particular call types and CAD entries, which will realize a substantial time savings for our DEMS members. Additionally, with NG 911 coming on board, at least at YRP at the start of next year, this is a necessary software to allow for the additional video and text uploads that'll be capable through that new software. Subject to any questions, that's sort of the layman's update or layman's term update on this software.
Nice.
Thank you.
You called it NIS.
It's pronounced NIS, yes.
The NIS is nice. Any questions? If not, you did? Excellent. You'll be happy to move it? Thank you. Member McCauley, second by Member Pritchard, all in favor? That carries. 10.5, proposal for a use of public relations reserve fund.
Thank you, Vice Chair. This is a request for the board to approve some funds in the amount of $10,000 to support the Ontario Senior Officers Police Association conference. This is something that York Regional Police is hosting this year. I believe you're all aware of what It's OSAPA is the acronym for the Senior Officers Police Association. So ultimately, it's it's comprised of over 500 senior officers in the interests of 30 OSAPA associations across the province. So the association does provide training opportunities, networking opportunities for the benefit of exchanging knowledge across the province. The last time York Regional Police hosted this conference was in 2015, and it was in support, the board supported it in the amount of $5,000, given a lot has changed since then from a hosting perspective, but this is why we're seeking the approval for that. Subject to any questions, that is the context of the report.
Member Jackson.
Thank you, Chair, through you to Acting Chief Hammond. Yeah, I read through this, and being that we're hosted, I know that from 2015, it was 5,000. Now you're looking for 10. The 10 still seems a tad low to me. And that's why I've also pulled a public relations reserve as well. Is that the right number, or should it be higher? I would assume if we're hosting it, should it be higher? Because of costs of food and whatever. I'm sure this is a couple-day event. It just seems to be, you know, we have lots of money in our public relations. If we're going to host, I want to do it right. So to me, it seems to be a tad low. So.
Well, thank you for the question. And I believe we have the president of the Senior Officers Association
They are
with
here.
us,
I
Ryan
know.
Hogan. So I don't want to assume and speak on his behalf. I believe the remainder of the funds comes from their account, Superintendent Hogan.
Good morning. Thank you for the question, and through you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Ms. Jackson, for your question. Admittedly, we're humbled by that comment, because we were coming here knowing that this is a very supportive board in terms of the police service, and we were honored that you would even entertain this request. The total cost of the conference is just shy of $50,000. The amount of 10,000, while double what it was last time, is in support of the increased costs in these economic times with the location. All the registrations come from individual member associations of those 30 associations across the province. We are open to anything that the board would feel would be appropriate in the circumstances, and we're humbled and grateful for the opportunity to even make the request to you. So our ask was 10,000. We are certainly open to any more that the board would be willing to provide.
Through the chair, Superintendent Hogan, thank you. I guess my comment is, it sounds like if it's going to be 50, that there's a deficit, there's going to be a deficit. And who would do you have a fund in the senior officers to cover that deficit, or?
The bulk of it is through the fees that are provided through the registrations of all the other associations across the province. We do have a account within the Senior Officers Association from member dues that are provided, biweekly through the members' pay. There will be a short deficit by about $5,000.
Just the number I wanted to hear. Through the chair. Thank you, Superintendent Hogan. Given that our public relations reserve fund is quite healthy and always seems to stay around the same amount, I'd like to amend this motion and increase the amount to $15,000.
Thank you, Member Jackson. Member Pritchard, you're nodding. You'll second. Any other further questions? Go ahead, Member McCullough.
My question was, how many officers were there? It's a combination of all the officers in YRP and others? How many?
So through you, Vice Chair. So the members attending this conference will be from across the province, and it does include about 500 members. The entire Senior Officers Association is invited to attend, subject to their availability. I'll turn it over to Superintendent Hogan to elaborate.
Good morning again. Thank you through you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Ms. McCullough, for your question. The associations from across the province are combined of both sworn police officers and our civilian police professionals that are combined within those associations. So it's a mix of members from across the province that come together from those 30 associations for that.
So in my opinion, I think we should fully support our officers, because they don't have this, they won't have this opportunity all that frequently. So I do support that. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yeah.
With that, all in favor? Thank you. The semi-annual report on public complaints.
Thank you, Vice Chair, and through you, this is our semi-annual report, as you can read, and I will turn it over to Jason Fraser.
Thank you, Deputy Chief. Mr. Chair, thank you through you, members of the board. Just wanted to make a couple of notes, as has been a trend for a number of years. Our public complaints statistics continue to be relatively low for the size of our service, but I wanted to make sure that we didn't take too much credit for this report because some of it is a bit of a statistical anomaly. It shows decreases in various areas, but those decreases in some part are reflected in the fact that during the transition from the Police Services Act to the Community Safety and Policing Act, OIPRD, which is now LECA, they took a month-long break from screening public complaints. So for a while, we didn't get any complaints. They've caught up. And so there are now a number of complaints in the queue. And so I anticipate by the end of the year, we will be back up to our usual number. It will still be relatively low, but won't necessarily represent the 10% decrease that we see in this report. I'm happy to take any questions you may have.
Thank you. Any questions? If not, moved by Member McCauley, seconded by Member Pritchard. All in favor? That carries. We are now at item 10.9. Member Jackson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I guess my question is that in reviewing this report, there's not my concern isn't about the disbursement. My concern is language in it. Speaking to, and I'm trying to find it on the second page, and it says at the October 2023 meeting, the board adopted a revised policy. I know we've talked about this, but when you read down further, it says has amended its policy that it will no longer be donating to gala events or golf tournaments directly. And I remember we did this because I was part of that team that did that. But then when you scroll down to the disbursements, it says York Regional Police Golf Tournament. So it's kind of like, should we have maybe a disclaimer except for us? I mean, it just, when you read one, then you read the other. To me, there's just a glaring conflict.
Thank you.
Through the chair, thank you for the question, Member Jackson. So what has been happening is that many of the requests come as a result of these events. And then what our office does is we communicate that the board has opted not to directly support. However, do you have a program or initiative within that? So we could look at correcting the way the statement looks, or asterisk that it is through this event that we are directing the funds for a particular program.
Right. Through the chair to Anitra. Yes, thank you. I think that would be helpful because when people, a layman or someone reads it, it's conflicting. It says we're not giving to golf tournaments, then we are. I know what we do. But I just wanted to highlight it that I think just the language of it needs to be changed to make it clear going forward. I'll move staff's recommendation with and thank, but I do want to just add that, you know, when we brought this up to have a conversation about it, we had a lot of money in this fund, and you know, I'm glad that it's staying about the same amount of funds, and we're being able to distribute to these great groups that are listed here. So thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Member Cartelucci, you'll second. Any other further questions? All in favor? That carries. Unfinished business. Yeah.
So thank you. Through you, I am going to turn it over to Jeff Channel. He's going to give an update.
Thank you and good morning. Excuse me. Good morning to the board. And I'm making a minor change. There's a transposition error related to the September 16th meeting. I've arranged this with Anitra. That this verbal update will then amend all of the documentation that's downstream. It relates to the approval of the outlook for 2026. And we had previously said 469,700,000. And the corrected number, Anitra, is 469,007,000. With this verbal update, I understand if you approve this, that then we will amend all of the documents going to Office, the budget, and through the clerk.
Thank you, Jeff. Any questions of it? Member Jackson, you'll move. Member McCauley, you'll second. All in favor? That carries. That moves us on to other business and item 12.2, the new school police protocol.
Thank you, Vice Chair, and I am going to turn it over to Deputy McCloskey to give an update.
Thank you, Acting Chief, and through you, Chair, happy to speak about the school protocol and school presentations. I'll begin with the protocol. It is a legislated requirement to have a protocol between the police of jurisdiction and the relevant school boards within that. So last Friday, we were pleased to have our chief and the directors of the 4 school boards sign off on a new protocol. This protocol was redrafted and recrafted to be a safe and inclusive, anti-oppressive and equitable school environment supporting document that supports learning and behavior development with respect, responsibility, and civility. And that is layered throughout the document. With respect to the presentations, we have 7 presentations that we've built out for the elementary schools and 3 for secondary schools. Within the elementary school, the presentations are titled Community Partners, which speaks to identifying who your community partners are and who your leaders are within the community and professionals within the community. And then we have 3 other learning presentations, which are really very much aligned with our road safety strategy and some concerning trends that we have in the region with respect to MVCs and that involve pedestrians and motor vehicles and cyclists. So we're doing road safety, pedestrian safety, and bike safety presentations in elementary schools. Within the secondary schools, we have 3 presentations. One is a pathways to policing, both sworn and police professional roles. And the other 2, first one deals with physics, specifically related to speed measuring and collision reconstruction and the impacts of that. And then in chemistry, impairment and roadside screening devices, field sobriety testing, and the effects of alcohol and drugs on your system and your ability to operate a motor vehicle. These presentations will be delivered by our youth engagement officers, but important to note that these presentations are at the request of the school administration. This is not a school resource program. We are not in the schools day in and day out. We are there by invitation only at the request of the school administration. And then upon request, there's a 2-week period that allows the school time to inform the parents and students of the presentation, and it also provides for an opt-out provision if a student or parent does not wish to be subject to that presentation. Subject to any questions?
And if I could add, sorry, and Kevin,
Yeah.
thank you for the excellent overview. And I really think this is some excellent work that's done by, under the leadership of Deputy McCloskey. And this, we have been on a pause with the both the Catholic and the public school board since 2021 when I oversaw that portfolio. It's important to note that a lot of that, the work, this has been a long process and getting this opportunity off the ground. And thank you for taking it over the finish line, because this is really important work for these messages for the students to receive, but also contributes to further relationship building that we have with the youth in our community. So I think this is an excellent opportunity. And I do note the pathways to policing. Certainly that's in my Ballywick right now with recruiting, because we have a number of people students that aspire to be police officers or police professionals. And this is just another opportunity to take advantage of everybody as a recruiter, even if you're still in the school. So thank you.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Any questions? Member Pritchell.
To the deputy, how would you characterize the current relationship between the boards and the police service?
Thank you for the question, Mr. Purchell, and through you, Chair. I think it's quite good, to be perfectly frank. There is fairly new directors at each board. We made it our first priority to meet with them as soon as they came on, and I can tell you that they've been in support of getting us here since the first meeting I've ever had with them, and even well before that with Deputy Hammond and Superintendent Sarah Riddell. There's been a lot of collaboration that's gone into the rewriting of the protocol and into these presentations and making sure that they're age appropriate and beneficial to the students and in particular creating an opportunity for young people to actually see the police in a different light and come to know us on a more personal and friendly level. These presentations are really about driving student dialogue and have them start to talk about what the presentation material it really is and encourage conversation among themselves.
As a follow-on, I have a concern that police officers, particularly in uniform, are being estranged from students from grade school to high school. That the reaction of a police officer, again, particularly in uniform, when he shows up for whatever reason, is somebody's going to get arrested or there's a problem. I think the way forward requires that people understand that while that is part of your mandate, that's not the relationship we want to see on a go forward basis. And I think many educators are failing to understand that you are integral to the community, that you are critical to the community's growth and safety, and that you're not aliens, you're not others, you're not here to do bad things to somebody on the campus. I think that is a line of work and effort that has to be aggressively pursued and developed to improve that relationship, particularly in the perception of students from the earliest grades and most acutely right now in the context of high schools. We can say nice things, but this really has to be an ongoing work in progress and an aggressive one. A lot of high school students react very adversely to the presence of police officers, again, in uniform, and regrettably, so do parents. And I say regrettably because clearly they're not understanding either the role, the purpose, or what it is that you provide to the schools. So I'm hoping that in the course of your ongoing dialogue with these new folks, that you give them more of an understanding of who you are and what you do, so they can download it through their own system. They're not well-versed or well-trained in the value that you bring to this relationship and the importance of building it as a community, because you are still, and this is personal perception, you are still seen as other. The community safety over time is not having you as other, but having you as us. And again, I hope and encourage that all of you, all of the officers involved, will continue to work at changing the perceptual field and continuing to have the community understand what you are, what you do, and that those things contribute to the safety of the community and the interests of the community, starting with the youngest kids. If kids don't understand this, this has downstream effects over the years. You don't want that relationship. And again, I think it's really going to take a great deal of time, work, and effort to change the current perceptual field, which is not, it's not hostile, but it's not good either.
Did you want to respond, or do you want Member Carlucci?
I would like to respond, and thank you for your comments, Mr. Burchell, and through you, Mr. Chair. What I can share with you is, and not just from last Friday's press conference, from directly from the directors with the positive comments that they had, and I know Ms. McCullough was present for that, and thank you for that. I can assure you that the directors certainly get this, and so do many of the board superintendents that helped work on this project with us. I'm also pleased to say that there actually is a fair amount of overwhelming support within the community to have us in the school to do these presentations, and many people are happy to have us back doing this. But to your point, there are some that have some reservation and are nervous about it. But what I can say about that is these presentations will grow and evolve with time. And the whole purpose of them is to be flexible and be dynamic such that we can change and address current needs and current issues and change and adapt as necessary. You know, there has been many asks about, you know, could you not do this in you know, khakis and a golf shirt? Why do you have to be in uniform? And the answer simply is twofold. Number one, we need our officers to be operationally ready. Should there be an issue in the school or in you know, something neighboring to it, they need to be able to respond. They need to have their uniform and use of force equipment available. And the second part of that is to directly address your point, which is the uniform needs to be seen in a positive light. And we need to associate the person behind the uniform, and the educational value of these programs and the learning lessons that come with it as one larger positive experience. It's not going to happen overnight. It's step by step, individual by individual, changing their experience, changing their perception, and building it out from there. That's the plan.
It is. And if I could add as well, this has been 3 years where to go back to your original question, Mr. Purcell, is the relationship between the school boards and the police. And it is a very strong relationship. Over the last 3 years, we've had at least a quarterly, if not in some cases monthly meetings with a number of the higher ups at the school board around how we can get this relationship back and how we can continue those relationships and build those bridges with the youth. Because as I think it's been said before, the first time that they would be interacting with the police shouldn't be when they've gotten themselves into trouble, right? So that is a very important message, and we're hoping that we can continue this, and it'll eventually build the trust with the members of the community that are apprehensive, and that is the ultimate goal here.
Yeah. I agree with all of you, but one major thing that we forget is the police are not here to babysit anybody. They're here to implement the law of the country. And we seem to forget that. We forget all the time that the boards have to be taught themselves that the police are not there to babysit anybody. They're there to implement the law. A police will not go to a school, will not go to a home, will not go to any place in Canada without a reason. So we have to teach the school board that police are there to protect the mass. If there is a bad guy that you have to go arrest, you go and arrest them. They seem to, they don't want police anywhere. They want to police themselves. They sure can do it. So the mandate of the police is to implement the law of the country, and that's why they're there. And that's why our system is like that. Why do we have to always police everybody? They have to be taught that police are for that reason. If they have a different ideology, it's the wrong place to be.
Thank you, sir. I do have to add just one little comment. So you've talked about the past 3 years. Well, there was a new director of the York Region School Board, Councillor Cober. I call him Councillor Cober. So Bill Cober was a member of the King Council for over 3 terms. So very level-headed and very supportive of the police services. So I'm glad to see that there's inroads, and it is about engaging in the community. There were many programs that have gone back years that we might have to look at. Like there used to be midnight basketball, where the police actually in uniform would play basketball with people that had nothing to do. You know, it's always what happens at midnight. Instead of lingering, let's play some basketball or sports or something to engage with the community. So just keep up the good work and keep engaging our community.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
So with that, I'll ask Member McCullough and Member Pritchell to receive. All in favor? That carries. That moves us now into our private meeting.
Sorry, may I interrupt? I didn't want to interrupt, but I didn't want to move into private. I think I would be remiss if I didn't. I know we all have it on the agenda about upcoming events, but one is very imminent, and I think it's very important that we mention. So this weekend is the National Peace and Police Officers Memorial. in Ottawa. So this evening, we're kicking off the Run to Remember, and we have riders where that is where Deputy Almeida is now riding his bicycle to Queen's Park. Myself and Deputy McCloskey will be meeting him down to continue the run. And we're doing this in honor of our fallen officers. And I just didn't want to let the opportunity go, because for tonight, the candlelight vigil is for one of our own fallen officers, Garrett Stiles. I'm sure you all remember him. So it just wanted to acknowledge that in public. And then, of course, the memorial on Sunday will be well attended by many of our members, both from the Senior Officers Association and from the York Regional Police Association. So I just didn't want to let that go without saying that. So thank you.
No, thank you. So with that, I'm gonna have a motion to convene into the private meeting for the purpose of consideration of the confidential items pertaining to legal and personal matter in accordance with section 44, subsection 2 of the Community Safety and Policing Act. I'll ask Member Cardelucci and Member Jackson to move in second. All